What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hoops and Stuff podcast. I'm your host, Isaac, and today we're just going to be going over these final four teams left in the NBA playoffs and just going over their paths to the conference finals and where they are now. So between the Mavs and Timberwolves, the last couple games have actually been pretty close, and I think that my favorite to win it all was the Timberwolves. So I'm going to stick with that. But the Timberwolves just have a lot of talent, I feel like. And I think they could definitely pull this series out. I mean, they're down 2-0, but every game has been close. So if they can just get over the hump and win the next four games, or 4 out of 5 games, even if they get to game 7 and winning game 7, I mean, they're still going to the finals. So I'm not doubting the Mavs. I think the Mavs have a really good team, but I also think that the Timberwolves could definitely make a comeback, and I would really like to see them make a comeback just because they have such talent and players like Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns. They have a lot of talented players on their team. Also Naz Reid off the bench. They have a lot of good bigs too in general, like Cat. They have Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid, who I did just mention. But for Rudy Gobert, he's never won a championship. He's been a solid piece to every team's defense since he came into the league. So for him to get a championship, I think would be a special moment for him. But on the Mavs side, you see a player like Kyrie, who's a vet. He's got a ring, and he's looking for another one, obviously. And a player like Luka, who has been snubbed out of being the MVP multiple times, who personally I don't like just because of how much I feel like he complains. Like, I don't think we go a single game without seeing Luka complain to the refs about something. But for a player like him to win a championship and just kind of like prove everybody wrong, and that he should be the MVP because he's contributing so much to a championship team, kind of. I think that would definitely put him on a lot of people's minds for the MVP race next year, just because if he wins the championship, I think he proves everybody wrong about this year's MVP decision. And again, for Kyrie, it would be another ring for him late in his career, and it would just show that he is still a solid player. And ever since they traded for like PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, they have been playing pretty well. So I would not doubt the Mavs in this series, especially since they are already up 2-0. In the Celtics versus Pacers series, we have seen the Pacers keep it close multiple times. The Pacers should have won game 1, in my opinion. They had the lead towards the end of the game and ended up losing by 5 points in overtime. So I think that the series was winnable for the Pacers after game 1. Then game 2 happened, and game 2 was a pretty bad game for the Pacers. They lost 126-110, and Tyrese Halliburton got injured. And I feel like that just made me doubt the ability of the Pacers to potentially come back and win the series. And now, after last night's game, they lost by only 3, which was surprising because I checked with like 5 minutes left. They were up by 10, and I was like, oh yeah, the Pacers are going to take game 3. But obviously they ended up losing by 3 to the Celtics in game 3, which really disappointed me because, I mean, the Celtics are a good team, but I just really like the Pacers. I like Tyrese Halliburton. I'm hoping he comes back for game 4 and hopefully can turn this series around for the Pacers, and maybe we could see them get the 3-0 comeback, but probably not. As for the Celtics, I would definitely not mind seeing them go to the finals again. They have a great team with players like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, a young player with Peyton Pritchard, and obviously a injured Kristaps Porzingis. And then they also have a vet like Al Horford and another vet with Drew Holiday, who Drew Holiday has already won one ring, so this could be his second. And as for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're both pretty young guys, and they've been really dominating the league these last few years, playing very well alongside each other. And I definitely think that they are a team that deserves a championship. And if they do go up against Dallas in the finals, I would definitely rather see Boston win than Dallas. But if they do go up against Minnesota, I'd rather see Minnesota beat them in the finals. But I don't think that Boston is a horrible team. I think that they're a great team. I mean, obviously, we've seen their record this season. They played really well all season long. And with the addition of Porzingis, they have definitely started to succeed a lot more because, I mean, they've got a lot of talent on the team, and it's a really hard team to stop, if I'm being honest. I mean, you have a player like Jason Tatum who just dropped 36, and a player like Jaylen Brown who could go for as much as 40. We've seen him go for 40 in game 1. And then you've got a vet like Al Horford who is I mean, he's not a very consistent player. He'll score a lot of points, and then he's got a couple mid games, but he's not a horrible player. You have a shooting threat with Derek White, and you've got a defensive threat who can score in Drew Holiday. So this is a pretty decent team that they've put together this year, and I think that they have potential to be a championship team. That's going to be it for today's episode. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks here on the Hoops and Stuff podcast.